residents of Dolton, as you can see, I have been attacked, stalked by individuals that have been hired by Trustee Kiana Belcher, Trustee Jason House, Trustee Tammy Brown, and Trustee Brittany Norwood. All hired these individuals to come into our town and create chaos. Individuals have so much hate for me that they are willing to do anything to put me, my daughter, my family in harm's way.
So here's the problem. The problem that she's going to have is that you're going to ask people to believe that Jason House and all the rest of the trustees hired Jedediah Brown to come and stalk you. I mean, that's the worst part. We all know this movie's coming to the very end very soon. We were waiting for these receipts. I'm sure everybody saw the video. If you haven't saw it, I'm going to play this. This is Tiffany Henyard. She said she had some receipts to drop today. She said that the board of trustees was corrupt. So we were waiting to see real evidence to that. But she's took an interesting turn. So now it seems like she is blaming or trying to change the narrative to Jedediah Brown stalking her. Let me go through this video. If you guys have been following this, you know that I interviewed Jedediah a couple of months ago, and I talked to him in depth. I'm going to talk about that in a second, but let me play some of this video.
The violence at the town meeting last week has been grossly misreported by pretty much all outlets as far as we can.
Something at a local board meeting outside of Chicago, with the self-proclaimed super mayor Tiffany Henyard at the center.
The story has been about the mayor getting involved in what we'll call a brawl in town hall. But no one, from what I can see, has bothered to look carefully at what happened. The truth has been lost in the spectacle. And to begin with, the man who started the whole problem that night at Town Hall is certainly not some concerned citizen who's there to speak his mind. That's how he has been portrayed.
They said Jedediah was throwing up gang signs. I don't think so, man. This is crazy. This is like a weird mini movie she put together. Let's let this play.
But that is false. This man's name is Jedediah Brown, and Jedediah Brown is not just some random citizen who has an opinion. This is a person who's created a whole social media campaign for himself by essentially stalking the mayor.
Y'all, today, this is your boy, Jedediah Brown, your own location, reporting to you live at Dolton Township's meeting.
Now let's talk about Jedediah for a minute. I'm sure anybody who's tapped in knows who Jedediah Brown is. I interviewed him about 3 months ago, and I talked to him about his whole journey into advocating for Dolton and Dolton Township, and what was his motivation. At that time, he was telling me that the way he came into Dolton to begin with was really in relation to Phania Duke's alleged assault from Andrew Holmes, one of the trustees. So if you're not familiar with that, you should look it up. Phania Duke, she accused one of the trustees, Andrew Holmes, of raping her in Las Vegas, reported it to Tiffany Henyard. Tiffany Henyard essentially said she was going to investigate it and ended up firing her. The past couple of months, I would say Jedediah has probably turned it up on Tiffany a little bit more, because not only has he been paying attention to the alleged assault with Phania Dukes, but he's also, as an advocate, stepping up to put more light on the corruption, whether it be in Dolton and or Dolton Township.
I've kind of sort of been out already scouting the spot. Yeah.
So I'll be cutting off my camera. Kamal just arrived here and he won't smoke, so I'm definitely, it's cool. And what I'm gonna do is wait for the next resident to go into that building, and I'm gonna ask them if I could be in there with them, because they shouldn't be able to stop me if I'm just simply here accompanying another resident. This is what one-man protest look like. Checking the door. How you doing? You could have walked over here.
Okay.
So, what I understand
What's up, man? What's your name and badge number?
possibly 114.
I'm trying to get their attention. I'm trying to get in there.
Yeah, you got your attention because they called us.
Good.
Alright,
So I said, All right, it's cold. Let me step right here too.
No, they don't want you to go.
But you came in, you went in there.
Get it? Do your job. I get it.
I don't say that lightly. He actually has been stalking the mayor when she's with her family in her private time. He has come to her home.
I'm not coming to you, bitch. You coming to me. People saying you went to her mama house. You went to her mama house. You didn't expect for her to respond? Absolutely expected for her to respond.
To create a spectacle. And when that happened, the mayor even went so far as to pursue a restraining order against him at the beginning of January. And this is the guy that came into town hall and had this interaction that led to the violence. At the meeting, when we really look at the video,
This whole fight, everybody saw it. It's nothing new. And everybody who was there told me this, that Kamal, Tiffany's boyfriend, pushed Lavelle first, and then Lavelle threw that punch. And then obviously Jedediah jumped in, and Tiffany jumped in after that, and everybody else jumped in. But it doesn't even matter. At this point, she's trying to hold on to power, and this fight made her look horribly bad at the end of the day. What she should have done if she wanted to avoid it was to make sure that her boyfriend, even though he would be offended by Jedediah calling her a bitch in public comments, I get it. But as the boyfriend, he really should have just stepped back and done nothing. Or even if he wanted to approach Jedediah, maybe you do it outside.
is that this guy, Jedediah Brown, didn't just come into the meeting. The man was armed with a knife. The man drew that knife, and the man swung that knife at Kamal Woods. Mr. Woods did not lay a hand on anybody prior to being attacked physically by Mr. Brown. And a second person who's seen in the fight, who's not just a citizen either. That individual is a former employee of Dolton, fired for hiding his sex offender status.
Yeah, but Lavelle Redmond, from what I understand, he was hired by Tiffany initially and was her ex-boyfriend prior to Kamal. I don't care about her personal business, but my point is that this gentleman was obviously hired. They didn't do a background check in Dolton initially. Tiffany had an opportunity to come forth with some explanation as to how Dolton got in such a crazy deficit and how business got really bad in the township. She hasn't done anything. The interview that she did on the radio, that was an opportunity. I think it's WVON, if I'm not mistaken. That interview, it was bad. She just didn't produce any evidence to explain why things have gone so bad.
And these are the two people that attacked Kamal Woods, one of them with a knife that somehow he was able to get into that meeting through the security. And in that circumstance, these men are attacking him with a...
Who is the woman in the blue? What is she doing? Is she writing all this down? This is this is a bad video, man.
deadly weapon, and the mayor, fearing for his safety, did go toward that crowd, risking getting hurt herself. But he was at risk. This is her boyfriend. This is an important man in her life, her source of support, and he was being threatened with a deadly weapon, and that was going on at the time. The story has been reported as if the mayor's boyfriend caused a fight and the mayor jumped in it. But that is simply not the truth. And the video itself, when taken piece by piece and looked at frame by frame, shows it. But literally, so far, nobody seems to care. No, I haven't seen anybody that cares about that fact. That's extraordinary. You know, Mr. Woods spoke to a stalker who just made inflammatory and inappropriate comments to a mayor. Anybody that talked like that to a mayor of Chicago is going to be out of that room. But it was allowed to happen. And he's allowed to come in there armed with a knife, and then Mr. Woods speaks to him. All he did was speak to him. He gets attacked by these two guys. And he gets hurt. I mean, Kamal Woods got injured. He went to the hospital. And all of this is borne out by the video evidence. But that's not the story being told on TV. That's not the story that's told in social media. This is about a corrupt mayor causing a brawl in town hall. Yeah, that's sensational. That gets clicks and all that.
With breaking news, a fist fight breaks out at Tiffany Henyard'S Thornton Township meeting tonight.
But it has nothing to do with reality. Truth is overawed by spectacle and sensationalism. And that event at Town Hall and the way that it's been handled is really a microcosm for how Mayor Henyard's been handled for months, if not longer. Political enemies put out false stories about a corrupt mayor stealing from the town. That's a story. And those stories get treated like truth. Facts don't matter, video doesn't matter. All that matters is what's going to be sensational. That's the experience that she's had. Truth overawed by spectacle. And this man, Jedediah Brown, who was at the meeting, is nothing more than a pathetic symptom of a greater disease.
This is the part of this little mini movie that she put together that's the worst part, right? So, when I interviewed Jedediah a few months ago, he did talk about at one point that he had struggled with depression at some point and different things in his life throughout his journey, as many people have. Now, he happened to, his moment happened to be on video, and it is what it is. But obviously this happened in 2017. It has nothing to do with what's going on now. And at the end of the day, to try to tie in his mental health into his advocacy now is just way out of bounds. And I think that, again, a lot of things that Tiffany puts into play actually it hurts her more than it helps her, because I think at the end of the day, people aren't going to look at this and say, okay, oh, I understand now. People have watched Jedediah pretty much go in and just be an advocate. And like I said, he brings it with a lot of fire. He does draw a lot of attention. He does things maybe other people would not, as far as attention grabbing things. But to try to bring in mental issues is the wrong way. I think a lot of people looked at this and they said, man, this is in poor taste at the end of the day. And also, Tiffany obviously may have some mental issues herself based on a lot of the contradictory things she's done. But this right here is, I think, the worst part. I guess this story, again, is going to come to an end soon with Tiffany Henyard. And, none of us people on YouTube and the news and all this stuff, there'll come a day where no one's talking about her anymore in relation to Dolton and Thornton Township. But I think this is a last-ditch effort to try to hold on to some power. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Crucial Convo.